Okay, everyone. Can you hear me? Does this sound good? Let's see. Let me know if it sounds good. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to double check. Okay, so things are very close. AMD is set to announce their Ryzen 5000 series. Well, first, welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Anyway, AMD is set, if you notice, this stream is called Ryzen 5000. And the reason for that, AMD, besides all the leaks so far, that's, what we've seen to be true. But not only that, AMD, give me 1 second. AMD kind of goofed. For a short while, their stream actually said Ryzen 5000 series desktop processors. So they've effectively confirmed it. Now, they have since taken it down. They called it just Ryzen processors, I believe, or next-gen Ryzen, I don't know. But either way, they've effectively confirmed it. And a lot of people have kind of been asking, why are they skipping 4000? And personally, I think it's basically said their APU generation isn't confusing anymore. See, AMD released their first-gen APUs, or when they released their first-gen APUs, they called it their 2000 series. Now, they explained it to be that this is basically, they have a little bit better tech in them than their 1000 series desktop processors. So, their APUs started out with 2000. The problem is that then they did the 3000 series, and that was just Zen Plus. So Zen Plus was the 2000 series desktop, and yet with the APUs, it was the 3000 series. And then we have this problem where we're at the 4000 series, and that only means Zen 3. So personally, I think they're doing this just so the numbers are basically the same. So you'll have the 5000 series being Zen 3 on desktop and on mobile. So, their APUs in general, whether it's their desktop APUs or their mobile APUs. So I think it will help a bit with some of the confusion. And I think it also kind of downplayed whenever, we already had we already have 4000 series, and then they're now introducing 4000 on desktop. So that could obviously hinder sales because people think, oh, well, that's been out for a while. What's the big deal? So anyway, that is what I think as for why. But yeah, they have effectively already confirmed it. Let's see. So I did a poll before all of this began, and I asked the question, will Ryzen 5000 beat Intel at gaming? And the reason why I asked this is because there's something that's pretty interesting, and I will say that most people said definitely. The second was maybe, and then I always put something just to kind of, for people who aren't very serious about it, just so they can vote. But usually that one's all the way down at the bottom, but it is not. So let's see. The reason I asked that, if you notice, they're really focusing on gaming this time, where gaming begins. And usually Ryzen events are really just consumer, just in general. Yeah, gaming is somewhat a focus, but it's not the primary focus. Because for the longest time, AMD knew and still knows that they're a bit behind when it comes to very specific workloads, but overall in gaming, they aren't as good. So, I'm not going to lie, I don't want to hype anyone up too much, but it is pretty interesting that they're having this kind of focus. And then, let's see. What else? Another thing, now, there are some rumors that we're hearing about, oh, you know what? No one, don't hate me. I've been discussing this and haven't even shown you. This is where it says right here, where gaming begins. And you can see that it says Ryzen 5000 series. So yeah, it shows it. This is just a screen cap prior to AMD changing it to what they have now. So it has effectively been confirmed. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The rumors suggest, as far I want to kind of discuss what we can expect. The rumors have kind of suggested that we can see maybe 4.9, maybe 5 gigahertz. Now, there's a small part of me that thinks we may, in fact, see 5 gigahertz. And the reason why, hear me out, is because this time, we all know that Zen 3 is still based on 7 nanometers. So AMD doesn't have that big, first 7 nanometer processor kind of oomph to sell their processors. It's not on a new node. It may be 7 nanometer plus, but we really don't know. And the fact that they took it off makes me think it isn't. But regardless, I have a feeling that they are going to try. That their goal with Zen 3 was to push it to 5 gigahertz. And the reason is because, like I said, they don't have a new node. So they don't have anything huge to sell it with. 5 gigahertz would be that thing. Zen on 5 gigahertz. That sounds great. Of course, that's pure speculation. I really don't know because they clearly have pushed it very hard and still haven't really gotten there. So I don't know. It really just depends on whether or not they were able to make some major changes. Now, rumors do say something like that, but I don't know. So the hope is that I can see where they would have a reason to go to 5 gigahertz. And, the fact that they also aren't jumping up in cores. They don't have a new process node. So I think that would be a really big selling point. Let's see. These are also set to be the same core count. Oh yeah, and what I was saying earlier about, it being a big focus of gaming. Let's see. You can see here, because before I wasn't, hold on. There you go. You can see that a good bit better where gaming begins. They really don't focus on gaming too often, but yet they have been here. So, I don't know. We can go back to the poll. I didn't really show this before. For some reason, I didn't have it showing my screen, but most of you do think that it definitely will. The rest think maybe. So there's at least some hope, and I do think there's going to be some disappointment if they don't, just because it's been a few generations now, and Intel is still on 14 nanometers. So it does kind of feel like they need to be able to beat them, having, being on such a better node. But of course, maybe not. Really, any improvement, I think, is just going to be a welcomed one. As long as they don't also go up on price, which we have heard that pricing is likely going to be pretty similar. But of course, we shall see. Now, when I say similar, I mean similar to when Ryzen 3000 was launched, not to their current prices. So, anyway, once again, we shall see. And, okay, so we're about 10 minutes out. I believe it actually said 12:02. So, yeah, we shall see. And hold on. So yeah, most of you guys do think they're going to win as far as gaming, but I don't know. Let's see. I am going to have some affiliate links. I really don't know if this is going to be a hard launch. Mostly, I think it isn't. But just in case it is, I do have some links in the description that, should go to where it will view Ryzen 5000. But anyway, fingers crossed. So far, let's see. Hold on one second. Let me do this. so far, this is where I found, hold on. Okay, so this is the post Video Cards actually posted with this Ryzen 5000 series, where they kind of made a mistake for a second, basically admitted this they are skipping the 4000 series. And I'd also want to talk about some of the rumors that we've been hearing, which is basically that they're going to be announcing 4 processors today. So the 5600X, the 5800X, 5900X, and 5950X. Now, I will say that some have said that the 5950X isn't going to be coming, that they're going to be ending it basically at 12 cores, but I don't know. The most recent have said that we are going to get a 5950X, but we're going to be getting the 5800X and 5900X this month, and then we don't know about the 5600X. We just know it's going to be launching later, but the most recent rumor says the 5950X will be launching in December. So, excuse me, that's what we're hearing so far. Of course, if they do get up to 5 gigahertz, it'll almost definitely be on the 5950X. It will obviously be a single core, so it won't be all core overclock or anything like that. Though, I don't know. I mean, this is a big architectural difference, so there is a chance that these have much better overclocking, although there's more important things that they need to focus on prior to allowing better overclocking or anything like that, or handling it better. So we shall see. And let's see, trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. If anyone has any kind of questions or anything, you can ask it in the chat and I'll try to answer. Some people are telling me, oh, yes. Yeah, so far I have a lot of people asking about prices. So far, we honestly don't know. The most recent rumor that I've seen says that it's basically going to be the same, but once again, it's going to be the same in the sense that how it was when the 3000 series launched. So I highly doubt it's going to be the same as the prices are now. So they can easily still sell the 3000 series, but of course, it really depends on how much more powerful it is. A lot of people have also been talking about their 400 series motherboards. AMD has promised, they actually originally said no, it's only going to be the 500 series. That's why they launched the B550 boards. But of course, they were really expensive and a lot of people were pretty upset. Rightfully so, at least in my opinion. So they kind of backtrack on that and went to the 400 series boards will support it. I'm not 100% sure that it also includes the B450, but I do believe so. We haven't seen, because that was such a new kind of development. Let's see. Because that was such a new development, I really and honestly don't know if they definitive. Oh, thank you, Lacus. Anyway, I'm really not sure if the B450, but anyway, because they did it so kind of late in the game, we recently saw drivers from MSI, or not drivers, but BIOS updates and beta BIOS updates that do support it for their 500 series, but they didn't even mention the 400 series. So what I'm thinking is really just that because they decided to make this change so last second, because there was a lot of negative feedback for it, I'm fairly certain that we're not going to get it just yet. But at the same time, they have said that they're going to be accepting, they're going to be allowing the 400 series to support the upcoming processors. So those who have a 400 series board should be good. Like I said, I do believe that includes the B450, but I'm not 100% sure. So that is another one. Let's see if there's any other questions. And man, is this really behind. I don't know why I have such a massive lag. It's like a ton of latency, but let's see. GPUs, personally I think they're going to discuss it. Let's see, but I don't know. Let's see. I had a couple things on the GPUs. I think they're going to discuss it. I don't think they're really going to get into any kind of performance. They may show some performance, but I highly doubt that they're going to show like FPS or anything like that. I'm sure they're going to try to save that for the launch on the 28th. And of course, Nvidia has moved their 3070 launch until the day after. So obviously they're kind of planning on waiting and seeing what AMD has. So I really doubt that AMD is going to give too much away too early to give Nvidia even a longer chance to come up with something to combat it. So I'm not sure. I did have a couple pretty interesting things. Let's see how much time we have. Only a few minutes here. It says, will AMD ray tracing support NVIDIA's RTX? I think that's going to be a really big question when it comes to their new series coming out. You know, are developers going to have to go in and make a ton of changes so it can support these new hardware ray tracing GPUs, which for those who keep saying that it isn't, that Big Navi is not going to have hardware ray tracing, that is incorrect. AMD themselves have confirmed that RDNA 2 does come with hardware ray tracing. So we basically know that there is going to be hardware ray tracing. I think the big question, like I said, really is if developers are going to have to do a ton. Now, one great thing is that DirectX 12 Ultimate adds support for pretty much everything that NVIDIA's RTX ray tracing does. So as long as developers use that from now on, I'm fairly certain that it will work with AMD GPUs as well as NVIDIA. Hopefully that's the kind of route that they would take. But of course, this could end up being another kind of thing where we have some games that support AMD's version, some games that support NVIDIA's, and I really hope that's not where we're going to be. But yeah, let's see. Hold on one second. Yeah, it's going to be going live in just a few. It's going to be going live in like a minute. So my mouth is super dry. I don't know why. Yeah, and it says, so their thing, the stream now says AMD Ryzen desktop processors, yet before it said Ryzen 5000 series for probably a few seconds. So they obviously changed that up for good reason, but they basically dropped the ball already, kind of told us these are going to be the 5000 series processors. So yeah, let's see. Now their stream says Premiere will begin shortly. So hopefully super shortly. Let's see. I've got 11:59 on my phone, so not too long now. Let's see. It looks like we have even more people kind of claiming that it's definitely going to beat Intel at gaming. We shall see. Like I said, it is a gaming focused event. They specifically say gaming in the stream title. So I I do think it's called Where Gaming Begins. I really don't think they've ever focused so heavily on gaming when it comes to their Zen processors. Excuse me. So, I don't know. I do not know, but I definitely think we should be getting some pretty big stuff. Okay. This is it. It's going to be beginning in 1. Oh boy. We had the official countdown. Yeah, 12:02. I thought that's when somebody was going to do it. Does this sound good for everyone? Loud. Is that better? Okay, is that better? Sorry to everyone for how loud that was. Yeah, it probably will get quieter. This is just going to be their music. Once they bring the mics on, it'll be similar, but probably quieter. So here we go. 1. And that's it. All right. Super. No, I'm just kidding. Don't go anywhere.
We started Zen from scratch, starting with a clean sheet of paper.
Zen turned out to be a grounds-up design, which doesn't come along very often.
In the life of an engineer, you get to build something this significant once, twice, if you're lucky, 3 times in your lifetime. AMD enables the engineers to go off and innovate and to bring to market what it is that they dream about.
I'm extremely pleased to show you for the first time the name of our new CPU. Now it's time for you to see Ryzen in action. We wanted to disrupt the PC market. We wanted to bring innovation, choice, and performance to as many people as possible. In high-performance PCs, it was about delivering more performance at every single price point.
The Ryzen Threadripper acknowledges that there are people who want to create and game on the same PC and need the scalability and need the performance to do that. And that's what's really exciting about the Threadripper chip.
It was our commitment to our customers that we would deliver to the roadmap that we set out, and momentum is now on our side.
The anticipation around 3rd Gen Ryzen is really impressive. Meet the world's first 16-core gaming processor.
Now, in 2019, 3rd Gen Ryzen is it.
What we did in Zen was push well beyond what we thought we could do. It makes me so proud to be able to look back and say that I was part of that.
Our mission with Ryzen has always been clear. It's about making the right bets 3 to 5 years in advance and making sure that they come to fruition. Our goal is to give you the best. Welcome, everyone. Big welcome to all of you, and thank you all for joining us today. I've been looking forward to this moment all year, and I know many of you have too. It's been a challenging year for everyone as we've navigated the COVID-19 pandemic globally. But one thing we've learned is just how important high-performance computing technologies really are. From work, to school, to gaming, to entertainment, the PC is now the computing platform of choice in 2020. And I'm really excited to show you today what we have been working on for the next-gen PC platforms, and especially for all of you gamers. Now, it's already been an incredible year for gamers. There's
especially
so
gamers.
much excitement around the next-gen consoles. We are so proud to power the new Sony PlayStation 5 with a high-performance custom chip featuring our AMD Ryzen CPU and AMD Radeon GPU technology. And we are equally proud that custom AMD processors also power the new Microsoft Xbox Series X and Series S consoles, again, featuring our high-performance Ryzen and Radeon technologies. These consoles are bringing just incredible technology to gamers all over the world and are really a result of just deep engineering partnerships over many, many years with both Sony and Microsoft. Now, gaming is at the heart of so much of what we do at AMD. Whether you're talking about PCs or consoles or cloud gaming and mobile. AMD loves gaming, and we like to say gaming begins with AMD. So today, we're going to talk specifically about our next-gen PC gaming platform. So let's talk a little bit about Ryzen. Now, you guys know we brought the first generation of Ryzen to market in 2017, and we actually had one goal. It was to build the best PC desktop processor possible. Now, we knew we wouldn't get there in one step, but with each generation of Ryzen, it's gotten better. And we focused on how do we deliver more performance? How do we deliver the best features? And how do we give more capabilities to all of you PC enthusiasts so that you can do more than you ever thought with your desktop or in your notebook? And we've made great, great progress. We started with Ryzen in desktops, and then we introduced Ryzen Threadripper in high-end desktops. And now, actually, Ryzen is in many amazing notebook systems with our Ryzen 4000 series. I think it's safe to say that AMD loves the PC, and I think also it's safe to say that PC users love Ryzen. So we really appreciate that. Now look, let's just focus on the desktop for a few minutes. The progress we have made over the last few years has been really amazing. If you look at the market before Ryzen, the desktop PC was on sort of an incremental performance slope for the last many years. Now, over the past 3 years, we've significantly changed that trajectory and really completely reset expectations as we've gone from first-gen Ryzen to second-gen, now to third-gen Ryzen. We were the first to launch a 7-nanometer desktop processor, and today, third-gen Ryzen leads in so many areas. We're the highest in multi-threaded performance. We are the best in terms of power efficiency, and third-gen Ryzen is an absolutely great gaming processor. But as you know, we're really ambitious. So our work with Ryzen is never done. Our engineers have been on this maniacal focus of what can we do more? What can we do better? So today, we're here to talk about our brand new CPU core. You've all been waiting for it. It's all about Zen 3. And with Zen 3, we focused again on bringing the best to the PC market. I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. Zen 3 increases our lead in overall performance. It increases our lead in power efficiency. And also now, it delivers the best single-threaded performance and gaming performance as well. We've made massive changes in the core architecture, and I'm sure all of you want to know what's inside Zen 3. So let me hand it over to AMD CTO Mark Papermaster to give you all the details. Mark?
Well, thank you, Lisa. I couldn't be more excited than to share a little bit more about Zen 3 and our progression to get here. It's been quite a journey. We set a course over 5 years ago to design a family of high-performance x86 CPUs. Our goal, very simply, outright leadership. We set up the team so that development of multiple processor generations could be done in parallel, with designers leapfrogging from one generation to another. This has resulted in consistent delivery to the market as promised. I could not be more proud than to help unveil our third generation of Zen Core debuting in Ryzen desktops this fall. It is a beast in performance and will deliver absolute leadership in the x86 market. Zen brought us back into high performance with a 52% improvement in instruction per clock in a single generation. It built a strong base for us to build upon as we developed the Zen family. Last year, Zen 2 brought double-digit % increase in instruction per clock and debuted 7 nanometer in chiplet technology. That 7 nanometer efficiency enabled leadership, multi-core performance, and core density. The innovative chiplet implementation allowed us ease of manufacturing with the small 7 nanometer die and scalability to leadership core counts. And now Zen 3. Wow, what a great job by the design team to improve every aspect of the CPU, delivering leadership performance in that same 7 nanometer node. Higher frequency, higher instruction per clock, with design improvements across all of the CPU components, and lower latency on top of that. You look at some of the key elements. There's a new layout of our processor that brings all the cores onto a unified 8-core complex, and that accelerates core-to-core communication. That's especially helpful for gaming workloads. That consolidation actually allows every core to directly access the 32 megabytes of L3 cache, and that dramatically accelerates workloads that are latency sensitive, like gaming. And finally, significant changes throughout the Zen 3 architecture, generating a 19% instruction per clock uplift. That's on top of the significant gains that we had just in the mid of last year with Zen 2. Altogether, Zen 3 is our most significant architectural update yet across the Zen family. We made the Zen 3 floating point and integer execution units wider, more flexible, and allows us to deliver more execution capability to the user at a lower latency. We've increased the number of loads and stores that we can do versus Zen 2, helping us feed those wider execution capabilities of Zen 3.
19%.
We've added more branch prediction bandwidth. It allows Zen 3 to tackle back-to-back predictions much more quickly, reducing the delays. We call it zero bubble. These innovations keep Zen 3 ahead of the industry norm on generational improvements and position Zen 3-based Ryzen to be a clear desktop performance leader. Microprocessor performance engineering never has one single bullet. It takes focused microprocessor engineering. It's a broad set of improvements that are needed to make a great architecture.
20%
it takes
rumors
innovation
were right.
on all of the key levers. Zen 3 is a total front-to-back redesign. The microarchitecture had laser focus on performance on every element, end-to-end improvements, the caching, load store, our execution units, our prefetching, our dispatch, our decode. Zen 2, in fact, had been organized with 2 4-core cache complexes, and it was tightly integrated. That was a very good design, but what we found is that we brought that together into that single unified cache core complex, that we brought
rumors
that
were right.
Direct access to 32 megabytes of L3 cache rather than the 16 megabytes that we have with Zen 2. That direct access to a cache pool of this size is very significant for gaming. They tend to make frequent use, of course, of the memory subsystem, and in fact, many games have a dominant thread. And that makes especially heavy use of the cache, and that thread now sees effectively twice the L3 cache in Zen 3. So every core can now communicate directly to the cache without traversing across the die, and that reduces latency. And it stays synchronized for applications using AI, audio, physics, and more. You can see that we continue our relentless commitment to energy efficiency with every generation. We're always honing our design methodologies to focus on performance per watt, even as we make the processors faster for gamers. Zen 3 is no different, delivering up to 24% improvement in power efficiency versus the prior generation. That's double-digit performance per watt uplift in the same process node. And that's on top of all the architectural changes that we drove in to drive up the performance. Our commitment to energy efficiency across time has put us in the driver's seat. Today, we're more than 2.8x more efficient than competing high-end desktop processors. And that's only a strengthening of the leadership that we demonstrated during the prior Zen 2 era. We will not let up going forward. We're focused on execution. Zen 3 is shipping as promised in the 5 nanometer Zen 4 on track in design. The AMD team is hitting on all cylinders, and there's no shortage of innovations for the next generation of Zen processors to keep AMD in the forefront and deliver the best compute experience for our customers. Thank you. And let me welcome back Lisa to now show off our Zen 3 and new Ryzen processors.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Mark. That was great. I'm so proud of what the team has accomplished with Zen 3. We really focused on what is most important for gamers and enthusiasts. And at 19% IPC increase, it's our largest increase generation over generation since we launched the Zen family. So now let's see Zen 3 in action. I'm so proud to show you for the very first time the AMD Ryzen 5000 series for high-performance PCs, the world's first Zen 3 powered CPU. This is the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X.
Oh, yep.
12 cores, 24 threads, and a boost up to 4.8 gigahertz. It's a very special product, the ultimate enthusiast processor. Compared to the 3900 XT, the 5900X has 19% higher IPC, higher clock speeds, and all of the Zen 3 core improvements that Mark talked about, all while remaining at 105 watts. This makes Ryzen 5900X a big upgrade from 3rd gen Ryzen all around, but especially in gaming. Now let me turn it over to Robert Halleck to show you the 5900X in action.
Thanks, Lisa. Hey everyone, let me give you a sense of just how much faster the 5900X is compared to our current best, the 3900 XT. To do that, we're going to use Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a game I personally love, and a game reviewers often look at to judge CPU performance. We're going to run the built-in benchmark here at 1080p using the high image quality preset on two otherwise identical systems. You can see a whopping 28% increase just by moving from the 39XT to the 5900X in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And as you will soon see, the performance from the 5900X is faster than the competing processors as well. Now, as any enthusiast knows, 28% from a processor change is a massive upgrade. But that's what AMD customers, like me, can look forward to. This truly demonstrates the gaming strength for Zen 3 when you combine the historic IPC uplift, unified cores, and unified cache pools. Now, as we zoom out to look at a wider set of games, you can see that the 28% uplift in Shadow of the Tomb Raider is joined by many titles with significant double-digit performance improvements. The gains are even bigger in titles like CSGO and League of Legends, where the highest possible frame rate is practically the #1 priority to be competitive. Overall, gamers upgrading from the Ryzen 3000 series to the Ryzen 5000 series can expect an average performance improvement of 26% at 1080p. Again, this is just a monumental performance jump for an in-socket upgrade in the same motherboard, and a true testament for how good Zen 3 is in gaming. Now, as many know, strong gaming performance relies on strong single-core performance. That's exactly what Zen 3 has. And I want to show you using Cinebench R20 single-thread. There are many ways to assess single-thread performance, but Cinebench is a fast and easy tool that you can run at home. And it's one of the 25 workloads that we used to calculate the 19% improvement for Zen 3's instructions per cycle. As you can see, the 5900X is the first desktop processor to ever break a 600 score. And we don't break it by a little, we break it by a lot with a score of 631. We at AMD heard you loud and clear as you challenged us to continue investing in single-core performance, and the results speak for themselves. The combination of IPC, frequency, cores, and cache give AMD the fastest cores in the desktop market and give you the best possible gaming performance. So let's take that landmark core performance into a head-to-head battle. Across the same set of games you just saw, the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is a clear winner at 1080p. As I promised you, AMD wins in Shadow of the Tomb Raider by +6, and is joined by many other games popular with reviewers and users like you. League of Legends and CSGO are once again standout victories for the Ryzen 9 5900X. So that was a lot of data very quickly. Let's take a step back. Let's recap. You saw an average uplift of 26% for Ryzen customers upgrading from the 3000 series to the 5000 series. You just watched AMD deliver the highest single-core performance in the entire desktop PC market. And you just saw AMD clearly offer the best performance of any gaming processor on the market. I will put it plainly. We know that you're going to wait for benchmarks, but customers who buy processors purely for their gaming performance will absolutely want a Ryzen 9 5900X for the best possible PC gaming experience. Now let's bring Lisa back up to give you more details on these awesome gaming processors.
Thanks, Robert. That was fantastic. I hope you're all now convinced that the Ryzen 9 5900X is the best gaming processor in the world. Now let's look at the stack. In the 5000 series, we have a great choice for every gamer or PC enthusiast. In addition to the 5900X, we have the 5800X, an 8-core, 16-thread processor with boost frequencies up to 4.7 gigahertz at 105 watts. And we also have the 5600X, a 6-core, 12-thread CPU with boost frequencies up to 4.6 gigahertz at 65 watts. Now let's talk about price and availability. The 6-core 5600X is $299. The 8-core 5800X is $449, and the amazing 5900X, combining the leadership performance and power efficiency of Zen 3 in a 12-core 7nm design, is priced at $549. And all of these will be available globally on November 5th. We're really proud of the 5000 series, but you know we're not done. We love our enthusiasts, and there's one more processor in our stack, which is the ultimate processor for gaming and content creation. For those of you who want the very best processor in a desktop PC, we have the 16-core Ryzen 9 5950X. The 5950X is simply an amazing CPU. 16 cores, 32 threads, and our fastest processor with boost frequencies up to 4.9 gigahertz.
Rumors were right.
The 5950X breaks the Cinebench R20 single-threaded record that Robert set just a few minutes ago with a score of 640. It is truly the best in class in every dimension. Best gaming performance meets best processor for content creation, and all of this still at 105 watts. Now let's take a look at some of the performance. If we look at the generational uplift from the 3950X to the 5950X, we see up to 27% more performance in CAD workloads and 12% more performance in rendering workloads. More impressively, we see up to 29% more gaming performance. And this is really how we bring the best of both worlds together. The best for gamers and the best for creators. And now, if you put 5950X against the top of the stack from the competition, we see that the 5950X provides up to 59% more creative performance in rendering workloads, double-digit wins in video editing and software compiling, and we also win in lightly threaded CAD workloads as well. We're really proud of the fact that we also win in gaming. There's nothing like the 5950X in the world. One processor that delivers the best power efficiency, our highest clock speeds, the highest single-core performance in the industry, and the highest multi-core performance of any gaming processor. And it's priced at $799 and will also be available globally on November 5th. I hope you're now as excited about AMD Ryzen 5000 series as I am. Zen 3 is really amazing, and I'm so happy we could a lot of notes and a lot of tweets, and I know that you're not just excited about Ryzen 5000 series, but there's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and curiosity about our Radeon lineup as well. So the next few weeks are just an amazing time for us. In addition to introducing our Ryzen 5000 series, we're also going to introduce our next-gen Radeon GPU, and I want to give you a small preview of that today. This is the AMD Radeon RX 6000 series, which we now affectionately call Big Navi, thanks to many of you who nicknamed it for us. It is absolutely gorgeous and by far the most powerful gaming GPU we have ever built. We got a lot of requests from our fans on social, and I heard a whole conversation on the Full Nerd last week about wanting to see Zen 3 and Big Navi in action. So today, I'm going to show you a preview of what you can expect from AMD Ryzen 9 5900X and our Radeon 6000 series. We've been doing a tremendous amount of work optimizing gameplay with Ryzen 5000 and Radeon 6000 series. So let me show you today Borderlands 3, which is a very popular AAA title running at 4K resolution on the Ryzen 5900X and our Radeon 6000 series. Just take a look at that performance. Over 60 frames per second at 4K with beautiful image quality. We are super excited with what we've accomplished with Big Navi. In addition to Borderlands 3, here's a bit more of a performance preview on Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Gears of War 5 at ultra settings in 4K. And again, what you see is tremendous 4K performance across the board. We still have a few weeks until launch, and the team is working really hard on fine-tuning things. But I hope you're as excited as we are about what Ryzen 5000 series and Radeon 6000 series can do together for your next generation PC. So that brings us to the end. I hope you enjoyed today. It's been so much fun spending time with you. We have a lot more to show you later this month, so join us again on October 28th, where we'll give you the full story of our AMD Radeon RX 6000 series. And make sure you mark your calendar for November 5th to find Ryzen 5000 series on shelf worldwide. Take care and see you soon.
Okay. I'm probably going to be releasing one, maybe two videos on this. Hold on one second. Okay. Just kind of going over what just happened. But I'm going to give kind of a quick, just while I'm wrapping my mind around it, I'm also going to be discussing it. First, Ryzen 5000, all the leaks were right. As far as the naming scheme, they were pretty much spot on as far as clocks. The leaks that we did get on clocks, 4.9 gigahertz, which I'll tell you, and that stinks. Just 100 megahertz, not like it really makes a massive difference. I mean, the biggest thing here is definitely going to be the 19% average IPC increase. And remember average because IPC increase only, instructions per cycle only happens at a per application basis. So don't ever forget that. Usually when they do give you a percentage, it's usually an average over, a certain amount of applications that most people use. I believe it was an average 26% in gaming, which is definitely massive. And like I had said, they called this Where Gaming Begins, so I knew that the focus was going to be on gaming, and apparently they have done it. They've finally beaten Intel in gaming performance. But of course, as I've always said, that's only when you have a fast enough GPU. But with these new RTX 3000 series, to be completely honest, we are getting bottlenecked by the CPU now. So probably now more than ever would have been the perfect time to announce this. But as many of you mentioned in the comments, there is a negative. That negative being, of course, the fact that there was a price hike. From what I saw, it looked like about a $50 price hike across the board. $50 more for the 39 from the 3900X to 5900X. But of course, I do want to kind of go over some of the numbers. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to kind of go back, see what Intel's MSRP is. I mean, now that their 5900X actually beats the 10900K in gaming, I mean, they may be able to move up and still be highly competitive. I mean, don't forget that it's now faster in certain applications. Obviously, big caveat on this, we've got to do a ton of testing. but they're going to be, but in what they showed, it's significantly faster, at least with like Cinebench and single core performance over the 10,900K. Mix that massive improvement with the fact that we're then going to 12 cores versus 10. A $50 hike with that kind of performance increase in like professional workloads is absolutely going to be worth it for a ton of people. But of course, seeing a price hike is always, it's always disheartening, at least a little bit. We love to see higher performance for the same price, but at the same time, 19% overall IPC improvement, huge. And it's about what we, remember that Zen 3 only got a 15, I believe it was 15% IPC improvement. So it really goes to show just how much they really worked on this. And 19% overall without any kind of new node is very impressive. And it's about right at what we saw, which was the rumors said 20% improvement. So the leaks have really been accurate about this. And yeah, impressive to say the least. Just huge performance increases. Once again, though, a price increase really does suck. But at the same time, now that they are even better in single core performance, I think that they just felt that they were justified in doing that. Of course, AMD were the ones who brought the prices way down to begin with. But at the same time, if they are truly a market leader in single and multi-core performance, they start more determining the price. And now this is why we also hope Intel can come back, and this is why you want this constant fighting. But at the same time, let's move on to GPU. Now, I'm going to go over a little bit later with some videos I'm going to be coming out. I'm going to go over all of the performance numbers that they gave. I'm going to try and compare them to the 3080, of course. There's lots of, comparing one person's benchmark to another is really hard because there's lots of other factors involved. The CPU, the memory, all these things can lead to different scores. But a really quick look that I saw, it said just one really quick number I looked up was Gears of War. And I believe it was Gears 5, and they said it got 73 FPS in 4K, while the 3080 looks to get 84. Now, at the same time, the 2080 Ti gets 62.8. So it is a significant improvement over their 5700X or 5700 XT, and even beats the 2080 Ti. But it does look like the 3080 is likely going to beat it. Though, of course, that's if you can buy a 3080. And no one really can. And Nvidia has even said, hey, we're probably going to see shortages until next year. So to be honest, if they can just barely undercut the 3080 there, they may have a winner just because they may have it in stock. If they have it in stock, that's good enough for a lot of people right now who have really been wanting to upgrade. So it's really going to boil down to price. And obviously, like I said, that's one benchmark. It's not even using all of the same hardware. So it's a very rudimentary comparison. But either way, overall, I'm very impressed, slightly disappointed in the GPU, although once again, it is still better than the 2080 Ti. And depending on pricing, it really could be a hit as well. But yeah, I am going to, I guess that just about does it. And I'm going to then go and start working on some videos potentially on the Zen processors. And then I'm going to try and do a video or two, or a video on the upcoming GPUs, which they showed us. So anyway, while that does it, I'm probably going to wait a few seconds because this is, for whatever reason, extremely off. But I'm going to wait a few seconds after I say it, because last time I cut it off and it just immediately cut it off. So anyway, Thanks so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.